coming up on Star City News.
The death toll continues to rise after an earthquake and tsunami devastated Indonesia on Friday.
Officials say it's the worst-case scenario.
And things are heating up in the Supreme Court nomination hearing.
We'll give you an update on the FBI investigation and the new witnesses to the case.
We'll also see what local street project is in the works for south of downtown and hear local residents' reactions.
All that and more right now on Star City News.
Good evening and welcome to Star City News. I'm Scott Ayers.
And I'm Braylee Gilbert. Farmers, lawmakers, and experts are praising a new trade deal between the U.S., Mexico, and Canada. President Trump's administration announced the deal Monday. Our own Alec Chisholm is standing by live in the newsroom with more on the story. Alec?
That's right, Braylee. President Donald Trump and Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau agreed on their part of the deal Sunday night, and now reaction is pouring in from across the state. Monday, President Trump announced the new United States-Mexico-Canada agreement. It's a deal UNL agricultural economics professor Tim Meyer says is a step in the right direction.
As an economist, I would say focus on the action, and the action is telling us free trade is good for business, whether that's ag business or non-ag business, and that's the way we're moving.
The new deal will replace the North American Free Trade Agreement, an arrangement President Trump called a job-killing disaster. He says his administration's new deal is much fairer and better for the U.S.
Once approved by Congress, this new deal will be the most modern, up-to-date, and balanced trade agreement in the history of our country, with the most advanced protections for workers ever developed.
Nebraska lawmakers are praising the new deal as well, saying it will greatly help Nebraska's economy. Governor Pete Ricketts released this statement saying the importance of this deal cannot be overstated. Senator Deb Fischer says she is grateful to the president for following through on his commitment. Farmers across the state are also pleased with the USMCA. Nebraska Corn Board Director of Communications Curtis Harms says this is a big sigh of relief for farmers.
Nebraska corn farmers are very excited that this new deal is being completed. Both Canada and Mexico are very important customers of Nebraska agricultural products.
Mexico and Canada are the state's second and third largest export markets, according to Ricketts. The two countries purchased over $2.4 billion in exports in 2016. For Star City News, I'm Alec Chisholm reporting.
The U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs has good news for Lincoln. The VA has new plans for its campus in the city. Star City reporter Abby Stonehawker has the details in this report.
After a 2-year selection process, the Lincoln Clinic is going to be built in new facilities at the VA hospital near 70th and O Streets. Mayor Chris Beitler told the Lincoln Journal-Star this is an exciting step in the redevelopment of the historic site. Johnson Development is taking lead on this project. U.S. Senator Deb Fischer told the Lincoln Journal-Star she worked to advance the redevelopment of the Lincoln VA Clinic because it's a vital project for Nebraska veterans. The new clinic will be replacing the clinic currently operated from the old VA hospital.
The questions continue to mount this week surrounding the Supreme Court nomination of Brett Kavanaugh. Here's what we know tonight. An FBI investigation has started against Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh and the allegations of his sexual assault against Dr. Ford. President Donald Trump spoke up about the investigation.
The FBI should interview anybody that they want within reason.
Chad Ludington, Yale classmate of Brett Kavanaugh, spoke up about the ongoing allegations.
Yes, I believe that he lied and distorted and dissembled to the Senate Judiciary Committee.
The Supreme Court nominee was scheduled to teach class in the winter term at Yale University. The school informed students Kavanaugh's class will no longer be offered in January of 2019. Students were told via email that Kavanaugh indicated he can no longer commit to teaching his course. The FBI investigation is supposed to come to a close this Friday.
We have an update on yesterday's robbery at a jewelry store in Lincoln. Lincoln police say the robber struck one of the owners in the head. The store's other owner was able to escape and call for help. Star City's reporter Amanda Acevedo has the scoop.
On Monday, October 1st, officers responded to the report of a robbery at PL Jewelers, located at 3031 O Street between 30th and 31st.
Two owners of the store were inside prior to opening when a man knocked on the door and asked to come inside. The man told the owners that he needed a piece of jewelry repaired, so they let him in. Once inside, the man reached inside of his pocket as if he had a weapon inside of his pocket, and he ordered the owners to give him money. The owner responded that they didn't have any money, and the second owner fled to a nearby store for help. The man struck the owner on the head, causing a bump and laceration. The victim then locked himself in the office area while the suspect broke a glass case and took an unknown number of rings.
The police investigation is still ongoing, and they have released a description of the robber through witness statements.
The suspect was described as a black male in his 40s, 6 foot, 180 pounds, wearing a blue and gray coat and saggy gray sweatpants.
The owners and victims are currently conducting inventory to determine the amount of goods stolen and total loss. For Star City News, I'm Amanda Acevedo.
We are having some very mixed weather conditions this week. One day it's hot and one day it's cold. Grace Harmon is here with our first weather look. Will we see any more warm weather coming at us?
Well, guys, it was a little damp this morning on my way in. However, we did not see any actual precipitation. But don't worry, we'll see plenty of that coming up later this week. For now, we're looking at a current temperature of 63 degrees with cloudy skies. It's definitely jacket weather right now in Lincoln, but tomorrow you might have to leave it at home. We'll be looking at a high of 91 before a cold front moves in later this week. Stay tuned because I have more updates later on in the show.
New safety concerns are coming to South 13th Street, but are they enough to keep residents safe? Here again is Star City's Grace Harmon.
On any given day, South 13th Street sees between 8,200 and 10,000 cars traveling on it. But the stretch also supports a high capacity of foot and bike circulation, which can create dangerous conditions during peak times. Due to these concerns, the street will be transformed from a 4-lane setup to a 2-lane road with a center turn lane. In a late August press conference, Lincoln Mayor Chris Beitler said the project will make the road safer.
It is designed specifically to give all the different users the appropriate space on which to travel safely and conveniently.
While the mayor's plan primarily focuses on decreasing lanes in this area, residents say the bigger issue are crosswalks.
I feel like they need to put yellow lights at each crosswalk because most of the time people are running to get across. And that's really messed up.
Manager of Traffic Engineering on the project, Mark Lutjaharms, addressed this concern.
We'll also be providing some active warning devices, what we call a rectangular rapid flashing beacon.
But the improvements may not be enough to ease residents' minds. Pastor at a local church and resident of the area, Jeff Hirspink, expressed the need for additional safety measures for people crossing the busy street.
If you understand the neighborhood, most people walk. It just has always made sense to have another crosswalk in this neighborhood.
Whether it's more crosswalks, flashing yellow lights, or decreased lanes, only time will tell how the improvement project will affect the residents and traffic flow in the area. For Star City News reporting, I'm Grace Harmon.
Still to come on Star City News.
We'll look back at the continuing struggles of the Nebraska football team.
But first, we'll tell you about the growing number of students in Lincoln Public Schools.
All that and more coming up on Star City News.
Live from the Anderson Hall Broadcast Studios in the College of Journalism and Mass Communications at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, this is Star City News.
There's lots to see and do at the University of Nebraska State Museum. Be sure to visit our new temporary exhibit, The Museum Builders, which explores the history that led to the building of the University of Nebraska State Museum. Accompanying this is also an escape room, which features the history of fossil collecting in Nebraska. For more info, visit museum.unl.edu.
Since 1990, the Mary Ritma Ross Media Arts Center has served the University of Nebraska-Lincoln with independent film from across the country. With live theater broadcasts, Q&A sessions, and local film festivals, the Ross offers exclusive events year-round. So drop in, grab some popcorn, and watch some of the finest comedies, documentaries, or thrillers. For any movie genre you prefer, The Ross has got it covered.
At the Nebraska History Museum, there's over 12,000 years of history under one roof. Learn about Nebraska before it came a state, what it was like to live in Nebraska during the early years of statehood, and even see unique artifacts only on display at the Nebraska History Museum. The Nebraska History Museum is open until 5:30 Monday through Saturday and is free for everyone. With ever-rotating exhibits, you'll never run out of history to learn. Visit the Nebraska History Museum at 131 Centennial Mall in Lincoln, Nebraska today.
As part of their Simple Living campaign, Sustain UNL wants to teach you to make your own compost for gardening. Making your own compost is as simple as throwing uneaten fruit, vegetables, bread, and eggshells in a pile and letting nature do the rest. Try turning your pile once a week to aerate it and add it to your garden before planting for the best effect. To learn more about living simply, visit Sustain UNL's Facebook page. Sustain UNL, creating a sustainable world through activism, education, and service engagement.
Welcome back to Star City News. All mail delivered to the U.S. Pentagon today is under quarantine. This is after a U.S. defense official says 2 pieces of mail initially tested positive for ricin. The highly toxic compound has been used in previous terror plots. The suspected mail never entered the Pentagon building. It was delivered to the Pentagon's mail facility, which is a separate building. The FBI is expected to do further testing on the mail. Stephen Thornton, medical director of the poison control at the University of Kansas Hospital, gave a little background on what ricin really is.
When you eat ricin, you have to take a lot of it to get really sick. But that's not the case if you get it injected or if you inhale it. And that's obviously what these, whoever did this was trying to do, because they made a powdered form of this, I think, with the goal of aerosolizing it, so you inhale it, and then that would be or could be quite deadly. You get it through the right way, like I said, inhaling it or getting injected, and there's really nothing anyone can do. You try and support them through it, but like I said, it doesn't take very much to kill a person.
After a horrific tsunami that has killed over 1,000 people in Indonesia, rescue crews continue to search for others as the government begins to face pressure from the public. CNN News reporter Matt Rivers has more.
Well, another day of search and rescue operations here in Palu, Indonesia, looking through rubble like this behind me, trying desperately to find anyone who might be alive. A miracle it would be, considering it's been 5 days now since that earthquake and the tsunami subsequently struck this community. We know aid is starting to increase from the government. Fuel is being brought in. Ships are coming in with aid, including ships from the Indian Navy, trying to get aid to people here that desperately need it. And as all of this is going on, the body count continues to go up. More than 1,200 people killed at this point. And the Indonesian government continues to engage in what they say necessary, or what they call necessary mass burials. Those bodies were dragged unceremoniously into that hole and swiftly covered up, many of whom remain unidentified. So moving forward, more aid is needed. People are increasingly upset about the Indonesian government, and search and rescue efforts continue to try and find anyone who might still be alive. I'm Matt Rivers in Palu, Indonesia.
The Lincoln Public Schools have set a new record. On Monday, 42,035 students were counted, an all-time high enrollment. The enrollment growth actually slowed down a little last year with declines at some Lincoln middle schools. The largest high school is Lincoln High. It has more than 2,300 students roaming the halls this school year. That's an increase of over 200 students from a year ago.
The University of Nebraska-Lincoln opened its brand new nursing building this fall and welcomed more than 250 nursing students. The $44 million project includes nearly $20 million for the College of Nursing. Star City's Abby Stonehawker with more.
After 3 years in the making, the UNMC College of Nursing building is up and running. Nursing classes used to be at the Wells Fargo building, but nursing student Shaylee Weigel says there's more opportunity to learn at their new location.
So our simulation lab is now so amazing. We have so many different scenarios that we can work with. Those are super great aspects that we did not have at the Wells Fargo building.
The nursing students are taught with mannequins that have real-life features. At the Wells Fargo building, they only had 12 mannequins, but when they switched locations, they made room for 13 more.
We also have Super Susie, I think that's her name. She's our surgical mannequin, and you can open her whole abdomen and chest for surgical operations, different things like that, procedures.
Pressler said they try to program mannequins for situations the nursing students might not see during their clinicals, like if a patient were to stop breathing or have a heart attack. Weigel said she was most excited for the simulation rooms because it will prepare her to take on the real world.
That having a new simulation room is definitely going to excel our education, and I think it really sets our nursing school apart from others in the country.
With all the new additions to the nursing building, Pressler says there's more to do when it comes to teaching future nurses. For Star City News, I'm Abby Stonehawker.
Once again, Husker fans saw their football team take a step back.
That's right. Here's Zach Penrice with an early look at sports.
Guys, coming up in sports, we'll take a look at the Nebraska football team and their preparation for the Wisconsin Badgers. I'll also preview tonight's big baseball game between the Colorado Rockies and the Chicago Cubs as Major League Baseball kicks off the postseason. And finally, we'll go through the highlights of the incredible game last night in Denver between the Chiefs and the Broncos. All that and more coming up soon on Star City News Sports.
Well, yesterday was the first day of October, and we are definitely feeling those chilly temperatures. Grace, what should we be expecting tonight and the rest of the week?
Thanks, Braley. Right now it is currently cloudy with a temperature of 63 degrees outside. But don't worry, the sun will be back out tomorrow. Stay tuned for your weekly weather forecast.
Still to come on Star City News.
We'll take a look at what the president is planning to do tomorrow over text.
But first, we'll have your full weather forecast, with Grace Harmon on the other side of the break.
You're watching Star City News.
We understand. Sometimes you need to stay late on campus. We also understand crime rates are higher at night. That's why UNL is taking care of their students by offering the Husker Safe Walk. It's a free walk-in escort service that can be requested at any time while on campus by calling 402-472-2222. Call 402-472-2222 if you feel unsafe or would like to request a Husker Safe Walk.
Libraries are more than just books. The Bennett Martin Public Library is a place for the whole community to take a break and read, or use technology. It's especially a place for our children to play, learn, and read. We offer spaces that help children learn to read and then love to read. Family story times and summer reading programs help establish the reading habit. Please support libraries as they help children grow into lifelong readers and learners. For more information, please visit lincolnlibraries.org.
Located in room 340 of the Nebraska Union, the UNL Women's Center provides a welcoming space full of resources. Their dedicated staff are here to help. Open to all genders, they offer various programs, including free confidential counseling available to UNL students, faculty, and staff. Take advantage of their resources, get involved as a volunteer, or just stop by to check things out. The Women's Center, at the intersection of gender and your life.
The Capital Humane Society's Pylock Pet Adoption Center, where you can find your next baby girl, your next Aaron, or your next furry animal companion. Each adoption comes with spaying or neutering, microchip registration, and a health exam that is included in adoption fees. So stop by the Capital Humane Society's Pylock Pet Adoption Center, located at 70th and Highway 2, to find your next furry friend.
Well, guys, if you happen to venture outside today, you might notice it's a little bit chilly. By no means is it cold yet. However, we are looking at a current temperature of 63 degrees. However, Nebraska will stay true to its nature with its day-to-day weather changes. Starting tomorrow, Mother Nature throws a curveball as we'll see a high of 91 degrees on Wednesday afternoon. But keep your rain jackets handy because it won't last long. On Thursday, we'll see almost a 40-degree shift in temperatures with a high of 54 degrees and rain. And rain will continue to be a theme for the rest of the week. We'll see a chance of thunderstorms on Friday before heading into a wet weekend. Both Saturday and Sunday temperatures will be in the upper 50s to lower 60s with more rain to look forward to. And that won't be all. Looking ahead to the beginning of next week, it's all rain with showers and storms lingering on Monday and Tuesday. Temperatures will stay right near the lower 60s. You know, I thought it was time to take my umbrella out of my car, so I did, and now it looks like I have to get it back.
Well, and that's why I make sure to always keep my rain jacket with this Nebraska weather that's so unpredictable.
Can't all be as smart as you, Scott.
Thanks, guys. Still coming up on Star City News.
President Trump is planning to be texting all of you tomorrow, and you'll find out why.
But first, our very own Zach Penrice will give you the full rundown on Husker sports and more right after the break.
If you're feeling hopeless, depressed, or suicidal, you're not alone. If you think that your life isn't worth living, then you need a second opinion. Local trained counselors right here in Lincoln are here for you. Call the Centerpoint Crisis Response at 402-475-6695 or call the National Suicide Prevention Hotline at 1-800-273-8255. Suicide is a permanent solution for temporary feelings. There is help. There is hope. Make the call.
As part of their Simple Living campaign, Sustain UNL wants to teach you to make your own compost for gardening. Making your own compost is as simple as throwing uneaten fruit, vegetables, bread, and eggshells in a pile and letting nature do the rest. Try turning your pile once a week to aerate it and add it to your garden before planting for the best effect. To learn more about living simply, visit Sustain UNL's Facebook page. Sustain UNL, creating a sustainable world through activism, education, and service engagement.
Libraries are more than just books. The Bennett Martin Public Library is a place for the whole community to take a break and read, or use technology. It's especially a place for our children to play, learn, and read. We offer spaces that help children learn to read and then love to read. Family story times and summer reading programs help establish the reading habit. Please support libraries as they help children grow into lifelong readers and learners. For more information, please visit lincolnlibraries.org.
At the Nebraska History Museum, there's over 12,000 years of history under one roof. Learn about Nebraska before it came a state, what it was like to live in Nebraska during the early years of statehood, and even see unique artifacts only on display at the Nebraska History Museum. The Nebraska History Museum is open until 5:30 Monday through Saturday and is free for everyone. With ever-rotating exhibits, you'll never run out of history to learn. Visit the Nebraska History Museum at 131 Centennial Mall in Lincoln, Nebraska today.
Welcome back to Star City News. I'm Zach Penrice. It's a busy time of year for sports. Football is in full swing, the NBA and NHL are just getting started, and Major League Baseball is set to begin its postseason. However, here in the Metro, it's continued to be the same story week by week. The Husker football team added yet another blemish to its record with a disappointing 42-28 loss to Purdue this past Saturday.
We honestly look, in my opinion, we look like one of the most undisciplined teams in the country, and it kills me.
An emotional Scott Frost addressed the media Saturday after the Huskers' loss against Purdue. With the loss, Nebraska fell to an 0-4 record for the first time since 1945.
When we're down 13 points and we got backups and reserves dancing on our sideline before kickoffs, they look like they love losing, and they look undisciplined.
The Huskers committed 11 penalties for 136 yards on Saturday. For the third straight home game, Nebraska outgained their opponent. But because of those mistakes, they're off to their worst start in 73 years.
Yeah, it's been fixable, and we haven't done it yet. And, you know, it's mainly the penalties that have killed us on third down. We couldn't get off the field. Then, again, a couple blown coverages. So it is frustrating when it's fixable things, you know. Makes it hurt worse.
The Huskers don't have very long to try and clean up the mistakes. This Saturday, Nebraska goes to Wisconsin to take on the 16th-ranked Badgers at Camp Randall, a place that the Huskers have been outscored by 71 points in 3 meetings since joining the Big Ten.
They never beat themselves, which has been the polar opposite of what we've been. You don't see them make any kind of mistakes that will get them beat.
The Huskers will be looking to avoid going 0-5 for the first time since 1945. The team has never started 0-6. Switching now to the NFL, it was quite the game we had last night on Monday Night Football as the undefeated Kansas City Chiefs traveled to Mile High Stadium to take on the Denver Broncos. Let's get right to the highlights. Patrick Mahomes, what a first 3 weeks he's had as he looks to keep it going. We'll pick things up in the second quarter. Game tied at 3, third and goal for Kansas City. Nobody open, so what does Mahomes do? How about a 9-yard touchdown run, his first rushing touchdown of his young NFL career? Chiefs take the lead. A few minutes later, Denver looking to counter. Here's Royce Freeman, the former Oregon running back, with nowhere to go except the end zone. Breaking tackles along the way. The touchdown run ties the game back up at 10. Now into the second half. Late third quarter, tied at 13, but not for long. That's undrafted rookie running back Phillip Lindsay plunging into the end zone, but KC wasn't down for long. They're down 10 with under 7 minutes to go now, but a touchdown pass from Mahomes to Travis Kelce makes things interesting. Mahomes all sorts of fired up. 3 minutes later, here's the play of the game, folks. Watch what Mahomes does here. Good pressure from Von Miller off the edge. Mahomes uses his left hand to make a pass to Tyreek Hill to get the first down. How about another look at that? An incredible play from Mahomes to get the first down. What else can Von Miller do? Later in the drive, Kansas City looking to retake the lead, and that's exactly what they do. Running back Kareem Hunt off the edge and in for his first touchdown of the night to put the Chiefs back on top. But Denver's got time. Can Case Keenum make something happen? 4th and 10 at the KC 28-yard line, and then they try the hook and lateral play, and it just falls incomplete to ultimately finish off what was an incredible game in Denver last night. With the win, the Chiefs remain as one of the 2 unbeatens left in the NFL, along with the Los Angeles Rams. Denver falls for its second straight week, and they're now 2-2 on the year. Well, stepping away from the gridiron and looking at what's coming up later tonight, it's a big one as Major League Baseball kicks off its postseason with the National League Wild Card game. The winner of this game between the Colorado Rockies and the Chicago Cubs moves on to the National League Division Series against Milwaukee, and the loser goes home. First pitch at Wrigley Field is scheduled for 7 p.m. on ESPN. Well, that'll do it for tonight's look at sports. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Zach. Hopefully the Husker football team can turn things around. We'll be right back, right here on Star City News.
The Capital Humane Society's Pylock Pet Adoption Center, where you can find your next baby girl, your next Aaron, or your next furry animal companion. Each adoption comes with spaying or neutering, microchip registration, and a health exam that is included in adoption fees. So stop by the Capital Humane Society's Pylock Pet Adoption Center, located at 70th and Highway 2, to find your next furry friend.
Explore Morrill Hall, located on the UNL campus.
We understand sometimes you need to stay late on campus. We also understand crime rates are higher at night. That's why UNL is taking care of their students by offering the Husker Safe Walk. It's a free walk-in escort service that can be requested at any time while on campus by calling 402-472-2222. Call 402-472-2222 if you feel unsafe or would like to request a Husker Safe Walk.
Welcome back to Star City News. Finally, you will probably get a text at 1:18 p.m. tomorrow from President Donald Trump. For the first time ever, Americans nationwide will receive a text message from the president. It's a test of the National Presidential Alert System. The system is used by the president to warn the nation if there's ever a large-scale crisis. Some of these alerts could be a tsunami or missile launched by another country at the U.S. You won't be able to turn off the alerts, so don't be surprised if you get a text from President Trump. Now, Braley, I'm sure there are some people that are very excited to get this message.
And I'm sure there's a few folks who won't be too excited.
But what's something everyone loves is the weather with Grace Harmon.
Well, with a real quick look at our weather tonight, we're looking at a current temperature of 63 degrees with temperatures changing tomorrow. Back to you guys at the desk.
Well, that's all for this episode today with Star City News. I'm Braylee Gilbert.
And I'm Scott Ayers. We say thank you and good night.